Hollywood is often critiqued for its churn of lifeless, sequel bait, and unimaginative reworkings of classic films. In a world that allowed the equalizer, sequelizer, and threequalizer, it's no surprise that we're being overwhelmed by this vacuum of creativity, given that theaters all over the country are facing uncertainty regarding their futures, and closures due to the declining film sales. The bottom line has never been more important to keeping cinema alive in the multiplex. The bankability of a film in theaters is now the leading indicator of whether a project gets off the ground or not, and this shift has exacerbated the declining inspiration and risk-taking that would propel indie starlings.
And so the movies that we used to make, you could afford to not make all of your money when it played in the theater.
Really well said, Matt. This explains your sequel to the 90s classic, Great Wall Hunting. However, there are still those that give us a refreshing perspective and nuance even when tackling trodden ground. Although it's rare that sequels live up to their predecessors, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a worthy addition to that list of sequels that outdoes its prior entry. It's not often that we see a meditation on death in animated features, at least from the perspective and depth that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish takes. Death is often explored as a threat to the loved ones of the main character, explored in concept as a milestone in the protagonist's life. It remains an almost foreign concept, looming as a memory, a scar that never heals within the heart of the hero. These tragic moments are meant to spur growth or conflict. However, in Puss in Boots, it's explored as directly affecting the lead of the story. As death looms large over the protagonist, he must come to terms with his mortality.
Well, if it isn't Puss in Boots himself.
We find our swashbuckling hero exactly where he was in the beginning of the first film, which is precisely the problem and journey raised by Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Instead of rehashing old ground, we're offered instead a sentimental look at what it means to live life, and somewhat morbidly, how to die well. Before jumping into the crisis of existence that the film explores, I would be remiss not to mention the wonderful animation and direction. The film has an almost painted, storybook style done purposefully to evoke those childlike fairy tales of old, similar to how Spider-Verse leaned into its origin material with comic book flair. This decision brought another layer to the story, one where we are caught in the morality play of the tale, and also brought back to this nostalgic, childlike wonder when we consume these tales for the first time. The film was designed to go a darker route than previous installments of the Shrek franchise, with Joel Crawford looking for inspiration in the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm. The purpose of this film being to show the light at the end of the tunnel. Puss finds himself battling an existential foe after spending his 8th life celebrating and boasting his most recent heroic exploits.
Okay, one more number. I call this one, The Legend Will Never Die.
Inside of a seedy tavern, he's confronted by Death himself, which, by the way, is the most terrifying villain probably in animated history. How did they allow this in a kid's film? I still don't know.
But you're not laughing now.
You are no bounty hunter. You are
Death. And I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or in any other fancy way. I'm death, straight up.
Puss can no longer skirt by with the same philosophy that allowed him to recklessly risk life and limb for the sake of glory. The legend is not enough to help him in his fight against the inevitable death that awaits us all. So where does he go? The place where all legends go to die, a nursing home. The story interweaves the paths of several similarly lost souls: the young Goldilocks who longs for the family that she already has, Kitty Southpaw who's searching for someone she can fully confide in, and Puss who needs a reason to not only fight again, but a reason that's worth risking his one and only life. They're all juxtaposed with Jack Horner, the selfish embodiment of the ills that have these characters suffering from emptiness and longing for a so-called better life. The consumption of our lives by self-imposed competition for worldly gain make it clear that comparison is the theft of joy, and when we live our lives by this comparison, we're made hollow save for that competition.
I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed.
The cult of celebrity is ultimately one of emptiness, where no real love circulates in the hearts of his adoring fans. That adoration is prompted by the image of a free-willed hero who wantonly faces danger while placing his fans in its crosshairs. His foil in the story is the hopeful and naive Perito, a dog who, despite his hardships, lives in almost complete contentment.
I don't believe you.
That's okay, as long as you believe in yourself. What?
Is he deranged?
Yep.
His modus operandi marks the easiest path to everyone's wishes, because his path is entirely non-transactional. He's doing this simply to help his friends. He wants nothing from the wishing star, and so his journey is the one of least resistance. It's his path that brings Kitty and Boots together again, because they see that what they want is right in front of them. Jack Horner, despite all of the great things that exist in his life, has an insatiable appetite, first whet by his jealousy of the dancing puppet Pinocchio, the puppet who himself longs to be a real boy, which Jack astutely observes he already is.
That's impressive! I've been a boy the whole time!
Little Jack Horner didn't have any magic.
His is a cautionary tale to never take what you have for granted, because once you lose yourself to competition, it'll never be enough.
No, I never had much as a kid. Just loving parents, and stability in a mansion, and a thriving baked goods enterprise for me to inherit. Useless crap like that.
In a time when we're inundated with the endless barrage of possibility, it's never been easier to have that sense of happiness and simplicity snatched away. Social media, celebrity culture, and consumerism are all built on the foundation that the grass is always greener, so we become feed for this never-ending competition. In the final standoff between Puss and the big bad wolf, he's come to terms with not only his own mortality, but the importance of living a shared life with his loved ones. He finally has a reason to live beyond himself, and a reason to fight that's much stronger than his fear of death. His love of fame and glory had him lost in the chase for immortality through legend, which limited a true enjoyment of life. As the philosopher Epicurus puts it, a right understanding of death makes the mortality of life enjoyable, not by adding to it an unlimited time, but by taking away the yearning for immortality. Basically, the love of life can be perverted into a fear of death, which keeps us from truly living in the moment. We surround ourselves by the trappings of comfort, but this can make the journey lonely and lacking in meaning. Death is simply a part of the journey of life, and a reminder to live and live well. In that way, the last wish reminds us that often the most important things are right in front of us, and the things that we long for in status and wealth are detractors to a life well lived. Rather than spend our efforts in the accrual of this worldly interest, perhaps we should invest in those intangibles alongside the ones that we love most. As the great American thinker Ralph Waldo Emerson puts it, it's not the length of a life, but its depth that matters most.
Pick it up. Pick it up.
I want to thank you all who stay tuned in. I hope you can give me a like, subscribe, and comment if you appreciated anything about this video. Feel free to explore my channel more for other essays. If you're so inclined, my Patreon is set up now to help the channel grow. And as always, thank you for watching.